Good evening and welcome to the Fatback 4 for this Sunday night. I'm Gav and with me I have Kev, Keith and Chris. This show is brought to you by Féileacáin, our charity sponsor, and we'll have a little chat about them later on. And also by BetMe, our latest game that we're playing, and we're getting better at it, but we'll talk about that as well later on. You're all very welcome on this live show. Loads of people in the chat already. If you're in there and you're watching, please hit the like button. If you can, share and subscribe if you haven't already. Loads of stuff to talk around the football and a few bits after that as well. We will be out of here in 1 hour and 12 minutes because the Super Bowl is on and I've watched one full game in my entire life and I'm banging into it now. So I've picked the right time to get on board. Burnley nil.
Forget the Super Bowl half time tonight. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar and Mary J. Blige. That's where it's at.
Right.
Just make it to the halftime show. That's all you need.
Okay. Daryl Hudson says, even Gav, never get to listen live, so happy to be on tonight. Good man, Daryl. One person doesn't like us already, but they've probably heard it by mistake to wind me up because that's how it works nowadays. But
I'd say it's Red Steve.
I'd say it's Red Steve. Burnley nil, Liverpool 1. 3 points for the Reds on a wet, a windy, a blustery, or whatever you want day in Burnley. Standard day in Burnley by the sounds of it. But Keith, I'm going to come to you. Initial thoughts. I have to be honest, I love the 1-0ers. I love the 1-0ers where it's messy and it's like, not that we got away with it, but it was one of those where it could have went either way, but it didn't. It went theirs.
Yeah, there was no... I wasn't worried. Do you know what I mean? There's been other games where I've been worried, but this one I wasn't overly concerned at any stage during the match. And I think I agree with you. The Scuttery 1-0s, there's a lot to be said for them. You get out of there, places like Burnley, and we know it's more the myth of places like Burnley at this stage because, you know, they're bottom of the league for a reason. They're not a great side at the moment. They have a lot of a lack of firepower, I'd say, and a few glaring holes in their team. A bit of staleness definitely in there, but I love them 1-0s. You know, I think they're a great one to get, and I'm always happy to come away from somewhere like that because what it does when and look, we've been in this position with Man City as well. When you're marmalading a team, people, it's routine and it's accepted. When there's 1-0 and there's still a chance, you know every other team is in there looking to see if Burnley can scrap a winner or an equaliser out there, and it's just great when they can't. And the reaction to them, to their non-chances, will be interesting as well.
Yeah, there's a big myth over how difficult we find it at Burnley. You know, I don't think we've lost at Burnley since Klopp's first visit there. And we're 2-0 down after about fucking 7 minutes or something like that, if I remember right. But we usually go there and we usually get the points. But when you've seen the weather today, you're like, you know, like in the FA Cup when the pitch is shite, you go, that's a leveller. This really felt like a bit of a leveller. Yeah. Chris, initial thoughts after the win before we get into it and have a deeper look into it. But just to come out of there with 3 points, City were at the winning last night handy at Norwich, and we didn't expect them to drop any points over the last two. But just to keep it ticking over, it was very important to hold on to that lead, wasn't it, and get out?
Yeah, I was just happy we got to rotate. We had a lot of depth, a lot of players that didn't even get on the pitch who, let's be honest, 3 weeks ago we'd have all said will be regular starters for us. And like you said, it just keeps the pressure, it keeps us in the conversation for if City slip. If they don't, then they don't. But keep them as honest as possible, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, it absolutely is. All you can do, like you said, is keep them as honest as you can. During the week, Klopp says that he doesn't feel like we can catch City, and Pep Guardiola responded very quickly to say that he doesn't believe Jurgen Klopp when he says this. Kev, you and Keith obviously done the post-match show, the full-time Red show earlier on, and, you know, was there a bit of, not even relief, because I didn't feel like we were under massive pressure, but just a feeling of, I'm kind of glad that's out of the way with all the circumstance around it, mainly the weather and, you know, how windy and shite it was, to be honest.
Yeah, all the stress and everything about the game went for me when Weghorst went off injured. While he was on the pitch, I thought they had a chance of a flick on or something. He'd orchestrate something, or he'd get in the way of something and make something happen just by sheer annoyingness. I mean, this is a horrible game because Burnley, for all their flaws and their legion, they can't score goals for toffee, but they have conceded less goals, I think, in the league than West Ham. They've won only one game. They don't concede many. They lose a lot. They draw a lot. But they don't concede many. And today with the weather and the new signings was one of those games you just want to get it done. Just get the points and go home. Just go home and look forward to Milan, on Wednesday night. I was just glad it was done in that way, to be honest. There's certain pitches, there's certain grounds that are banana skins, and that's a banana skin. If you're not right on it, if you're not mentally right, you can be shown up there.
Yeah, because I've seen weather being mentioned like at Anfield, and Anfield's a big imposing stadium that's quite high and can kind of block you from the elements very, very well. But when you see the likes of Burnley where it's open-ended or open in most, I think all corners of the ground, that's where you're just going to get wind. The rain's coming down anyway, but the wind blustering around and kind of causing a vacuum. And I know people say, well, look, both teams are playing in the same conditions. Yeah, that's true.
No,
but Liverpool like to play a style of football that is easier without that, and probably Burnley like to play a style that, like, they're looking at the weather, they're praying for rain and wind when they're going out to play the bigger teams. That's just the way it is. And that's no slight on Burnley. That's just the way they play and have done for an awful long while. Let me see. I didn't get to see much of the match, but I've seen the highlights, and Burnley had more highlights than we did, so it must have been a poor performance by us as Ferran Chase. Stick around, but...
don't mind that,
do you know what? He's on the wind-up now completely. He's on the wind-up. He is.
When you read out the thing, and I'm like, Jesus, who's saying that? And you said Fernando Jesus is right, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you look at all the highlights, you see, they had a lot of chances. What the highlights don't show you is the amount of offsides.
Right, okay. Do you know what? I was going to come on to it later, but I'll come to you, Kev.
Oh, no, it was...
No. I was going to come on to it later before we get into the lineup. Just overall in general, they need to stop this fucking thing where they're offside and they just keep letting it run and run and run until... whatever happens. If he's offside, put the flag, he's offside. Kev, it was very frustrating today. Alisson could have had his head taken fucking off early in the game when he comes out the head one away.
Me and Keith talked about this after the game, and it was exactly this topic. And Keith was like saying what you're saying, they got a flag. And I was saying, look, no, because they'll do that. They'll say, raise the flag, and they'll miss goals because they're that stupid.
But they're also...
You tell them to use the common sense, and they won't. They'll just flag for everything then. And
but Kev, I get if it's on the run. I get if it's
you'll see goals.
But I get if it's a tight decision. But you're seeing one where players are like a yard and a half offside.
Yeah, I know.
And the linesman's looking straight in at this. And listen, I get the feeling again, it's just what makes him put up the flag 15 yards or 20 yards down the pitch or 4 seconds later to now? It makes no difference.
They wait until there's no chance of a goal.
But it's offside. Do you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for it. There's no logical reason. I can understand Kev's point. We spoke about this earlier.
Yeah.
And Kev's argument is when it's a tight one, you leave it down. And I fully agree with that because I think you let it go and let VAR sort out if there's an offside. But some of them, Gav, you're right. They're glaring. They're miles offside. Do you know what I mean? Like they're absolute 3-4 yards offside and they're letting it go. And Alisson was bleeding fuming today with a couple of them.
Like I get if it's tight and a linesman thinks it, right? Okay. But what I don't get is I'm not sure about that, right? And it goes through and say Alisson heads it out and he puts the flag up. That's fair enough, right?
Yeah.
What happens if Alisson heads it to Robertson, right? And the guy that was offside takes her off Robertson and sticks her in the net.
It'll be a goal. No, it'll be a goal.
It's like
these. It's like the ones where you get a corner from this and they give the fucking corner. Do you ever see these ones? It's happening quite regular. So a player is a mile offside, they're not putting the flag up, the play runs on, it goes out for the corner, and instead of the linesman then putting his flag up at that stage, they're playing the corner. So you're not even getting the advantage. That's happened several times this season with this fucking stupid rule. Well, trust me, Kev, it's happened.
I do. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Kev calls Keith a lawyer. Kev calls Keith a lawyer 10 minutes in.
But we were saying earlier on about, and Gav, the first point you made, what if someone gets injured? I'm yet to see someone in all the Premier League games that have been played this season where flags have gone up late, where someone's got injured. And there's been a lot of games played.
But Kev, it's not even right. Forget the injury thing. Forget it. Right. But what I'm saying is, he's looking at that instance. He's looking at that line. Okay. Now, if he doesn't put the flag up, okay, and it runs on, and Alisson heads it to Robertson, right? Okay. Why is he putting the flag up? Liverpool have the ball. Don't put the flag up. Why is he making the decision 15 yards later to put the flag up? Because 15 yards later, he believes that player was offside.
I still think a lot of this stuff is going to get ironed out when the new VAR system comes in.
Oh, they've a new one, do they?
They trialled it during the Club World Cup. It's like a semi-automated offside system.
And
it's going to use it full on. It's like Hawkeye technology.
Okay,
so
I've no issue with that. Will they implement this in England, or will they decide that they're better than everybody else?
Well, it's going to be it's going to be fully implemented in the World Cup.
Mm-hmm. That's not the question.
Yeah.
Once it's seen to work, other leagues will take it on.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
because they'll be almost. But
the question still stands: will the Premier League?
Yes, they'll have to, because they'll be shamed into it like
they've been shamed into fuck all, yeah, Kev.
They've been shamed into putting VAR in because they were totally against that.
VAR had to come in,
but it didn't. They were totally against it.
It does,
yeah, but
Kev.
they done a year after the others.
Yeah, they did a year after the others, yeah. And they're still...
And then acted the maggot with it when it did come in. So this technology is brilliant, for.
Are they going to be tripping up the robots as they go down the line? You know, something like that. But I just don't get it why he makes that decision 15 yards or 20 yards down the pitch, and then he thinks it's offside. If he thinks it's offside, there, just put the flag up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And again, it's just
pushing either way if they did or didn't.
Well, I think for me, it's pushing responsibility down the road or onto somebody else, and it's muddy in the water all the time. Do you know what I mean? And people are saying in the chat there, like, Burnley were getting credit at half time for all their chances when they were all fucking offside.
They had one or two. They had one or two chances in the first half.
They did. They had Rodriguez and they had Weghorst.
Yeah,
that should never got in on that, but he did. But
which one? The one that Weghorst hit wide?
The one
offside.
The one over the. Yeah, the one over the top.
The one over Virgil's shoulder that he ran onto and he shot wide. That wasn't offside.
The one that he went through and he miscued it. That was a mile offside.
Yeah, but
that was
Trent clears it.
Yeah, Trent clears the second one.
Yeah, but the one I'm talking about was the one where Van Dijk's very slow on it, and it comes through and he hits it with his right foot and he puts it to the near side of Alisson, and it's wide.
But it was that one and one other chance I think they had in the first half.
Yeah, but look, it's one of those. I just can't get my head around how he doesn't flag there, but he'll flag 15 yards down the line. You know what I mean? Like, boy, what's changing your mind? You know what I mean?
They're not. They're just, this is what they're told to do.
Yeah, but
there's
very little sense in it.
To do it this way.
Do you know what I mean? There's very little. Like he'd be better off not being there, and them just literally when that ball goes over the top, just like keep getting me the replays and that, keep getting in VAR and going, he's offside. Tell the ref. There's no point in that fella being there. Genuinely,
I think you're not far off of that. Getting that one.
Yeah,
I don't think you're too far off of getting that.
Sean Swain
One
says.
Thing we know. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sean Swain says it happened to VVD last season. Sean, thanks for the super chat. But I will tell everyone, if you're considering a super chat, don't head into the show description, click on the Féileacáin fundraiser link, and throw your money in there. But thanks for it anyway. Chris, I better let you get a word in edgeways here.
Sorry, Chris.
Lineups. This will rumble on for ages, this fucking offside thing. But lineup, Chris, and the big thing for me is just the strength of, the squad being fully fit. It just does show a big strength in it, Chris. And, you see Curtis Jones on the squad today, Joe Gomez not on the squad today, but he goes with an extremely strong lineup. Were you happy with it? I was a bit surprised, I'm going to be honest with you, Chris.
The only surprise for me was Manny started. But then the tweet came out later from Klopp saying Joshua picked up a dead leg in training, so he missed training yesterday, so they didn't want to risk him. Because other than that, I think when Kev and I did the Friday show, the only one we thought maybe Konate for Matip, we sort of said that was a bit of a flip of a coin. But they were the only two that I thought might be different. Was Konate might start, and I was expecting Jota to start. instead of Mane. But other than that, the midfield I was happy with. I thought that'd be the midfield he'd go with. Henderson needs some minutes after his knock. Fabinho, we haven't really got anybody else. And Kate, I thought actually what he's played has done quite well. And you're going to save Thiago for Inter.
Okay. Kev, just for you, I know you discussed this earlier, but were you surprised to see Kate in there?
No, I was surprised to see Sadio.
Okay.
But for the same reason as Chris alluded to, the Jota thing made his mind up. I wasn't surprised to see Naby play at all because he's been available almost all the time. Bar, I think, one short period, he's been pretty much available for the season. And when he's played, he's generally done okay. You can't... Thiago is still coming back from an injury. And... You know, it's about managing the squad as well. I expect
there's a huge degree of that.
I expect to see 2 or 3 changes to every starting lineup from here on out. You know, so yeah, I had no problem with that midfield whatsoever. The only thing that did surprise me, to be honest, was Sadio, and I thought playing Joel, the amount that he's played him since they've all come back, I thought, is there a real need? Do you really need to be playing him today? But look,
Kev,
it's much of muchness.
Kev, do you think we have to get to the point now with Joel Matip where we kind of go, we know what his record was the last 2-3 years where he plays about 12 games in 2 years. But we're now February and he's not missed a game.
Best thing about...
You have had the odd rotation thing and we know we've got Canales there as a more able deputy. But I'm getting to the point now with Joel Matip going, do you know if he's just fit, just play him? Because he seems to be doing... It's not the first time now he's done 3 games in a week or 2 games in 4 days now.
So you're saying just run him until he's ran, and then if he has a breakdown for 3 or 4 weeks, you bring Konate and Gomez in. And...
Well, partly that,
or even
also
play him till he's tired and then just rest him instead of being overly cautious with him and taking him out
what he's doing. Yeah.
But I'm getting to the point now thinking maybe whatever issue he's been having with all these muscle injuries where he couldn't do 3 games in a week, he couldn't do games back to back. Maybe... we'll never know. When he knackered his ankle against Tottenham, maybe that 6 months is where they could actually find the problem and actually have worked on him for 6 months to strengthen whatever was causing him to get all these muscle injuries. So we could be looking at this actually what Joel Matip is now. He's a guy who's available 80% of the time.
I was surprised by Mane, but it makes sense. If Jota has picked up something and didn't train yesterday, I didn't see Diaz starting this one. Simply because it's away at Burnley. It's wet, it's windy, it's horrible. He's had Cardiff, he's had Leicester. You know, you want to ease him in a certain way. You do want to ease him in, and I don't think it would have been a game that suits a lot. I think he went with players that were used to the situation there today, and that's why Mane comes in instead. But Keith, there's definitely a case of, you know, rotation in the squad. Like no Minamino, no Jones, no Gomez in the squad today. You see the bench. Someone says there. I'll get it up now. He says the strongest bench he's seen in his lifetime, and he's 41. But there's definitely a bit of rotation. You might see Curtis Jones, Minamino, and even Gomez come into the squad. Paul Gormley was who said that, by the way. Come into the squad for Inter. But isn't it just a case now of if these are all fit, instead of making it very easy to pick an 11, it's probably going to be easy to pick 5 or 6, and then the other 5. They're going to kill each other to get in the team, and that's what all you want. You can't give out about it. You just can't.
Exactly, and I think competition breeds success. Do you know what I mean? In this model that Liverpool have, I think the characters that they've built in that squad, they're not throw the toys out of pram merchants. From what we can get, you know, from looking on the outside, it doesn't appear that way. Whereas other clubs, you might say, oh, they're not going to fancy the competition. This Paul, is it, that said that it's the strongest bench he's seen? I wouldn't be too far from that opinion myself. I'm looking at that team and bench today, and I mean, is today the strongest Liverpool team in the Premier League era? And I know that's a bit of a mad shout, but you look at the team, you look at the bench, and you look at who didn't make the squad. There's been very few times when we've had that strength. And we've got young lads in there as well. I know Harvey Elliott. I certainly count him as a first 11 player nearly at this stage. So I can't remember it. I'm 41 as well, and I can't remember a bench or a squad that strong.
I think with that starting 11 and that 9 subs and the 3 you have out, I can't think of a Liverpool squad in Premier
only
League
time-
history that's as strong as that.
The only
Not
time
really.
I think we've come close to that is 2000 to 2002. The year we won
Yeah,
three
that's probably-
cups and
yeah.
we came second.
Yeah,
That was probably
that's probably
the only
unanimous,
limit. That's probably the only time. I mean, that's when it was 5 subs and it was football 4-4-2. But that's when you had Yari Littman and as your fourth choice striker, and then the following year we had Nicholas Anelka as a squad option. So
Yeah.
that where you probably had 7 midfielders for 4 positions. The only thing I would say the back four never changed, but I would say for a while this Klopp era is probably the strongest squad we've had since that 2000-2002 era. Since then, there was always obvious weaknesses in the squad. But again, I mean, the thing that makes me smirk about our strength and depth in the squad, which everyone's lauding and getting very excited over, it's only two lads different to the squad we had last year. It's amazing what adding Luis Diaz does to everyone's perception of the squad, and the fact everyone's fit. Now that's always been the question with this squad is how many of these lads can stay fit. But if you go through that, most of those lads, even Chamberlain, he's only missed 2 games all season.
Yeah.
Where he's not been a match. So one was because he was going to be going with dad. Fair enough. And the other one was the injury he picked up against Brentford. That's it. Kate has been available more than he normally is. So there's lots of players who are available a lot more than they used to be. I mean, Henderson, for all the talk of he wasn't great today and he does pick up a lot of injuries, I think he's made the most appearances this season. So there are players who we normally say pick up a lot of injuries, aren't picking up as many. So
the red flag merchants, Matip as well, as we've just said, is usually one.
So maybe the much criticised medical department have actually got something going here, and actually they've worked out the kinks in a lot of players. And maybe it takes a year, 18 months to get the kinks out of some players. We'll never know. I mean, look, give it 3 weeks, we could be sat here with Ben Woodman back on the bench again, and you go, we're back to where we started. But
nice while
touch
it
wood,
lasted.
this is where it looks. Yeah, touch wood. At the moment, you all look at a squad going, there isn't a lot wrong there, really.
Yeah, you've got options.
There's huge options in it. But look, moving into the game, Kev, first half as a whole, Liverpool dominate the majority of the ball. The chances Burnley come across, as we said, a couple of them are offside. Rodriguez has a really good one though, and Weghorst has a really good one. You have the guy in midfield that hits a shot that Alisson saves.
Brownhill.
Brownhill, which is a comfortable enough save for Alisson. Did you feel as that first half went on though, Kev, that they were nearly dragging us down to a certain level? Because that's what I felt. I felt like we were being dragged to a level, and I was kind of hoping for us to snap out of it. Wind and rain and all, I get it, but I thought we were turning into a game that Burnley would like to play, and I thought we should have tried to get away from that a bit earlier. Although we do have a couple of chances ourselves, and then there's the Salah penalty thing and stuff. But overall, Kev, did you feel as the first half wore on that although Burnley are offside for a couple of these chances, and that's a really well-drilled line for the majority of the time, that they were still getting into positions to try do that to us, and it was nearly turned into a game that was suiting Burnley as it went on?
I think Burnley handled the conditions a lot better than what we did, and they played to them. They played those floaty balls into the wind to hold it up and try to get flick-ons in off the back of that, try to work the space in between our midfield and say where Sadio would be on the left wing or Mo on the right wing, and put crosses in and balls in from there and start off attacks from around the halfway line and forwards. They didn't play in their own half one bit, and you wouldn't expect them to. So we couldn't trigger a press to try to win the ball high up the pitch or anything. I think Naby had the first chance. He had a snapshot in the first half that Pope got down and got a good save on. Then Sadio had a good effort that Pope just happened. His positioning was perfect for it. He hit right at him. And then you had the penalty incident. They had a few chances, but it was we didn't handle the conditions as well as they did, and we just couldn't get anything going. I felt the forwards were isolated from midfield, and whenever we did get anything going, it was through patience and working the ball down the sides and out the back and around the other side. That worked for a time. That's kind of where the corner came from in the end, from working positions. And I was relieved more than anything to get the goal because it was vital that we got ahead. It was it's the one ground in probably the 20 bar the Etihad that you don't want to go one down. You don't want to give them hope of being able to hold out for anything, especially with the position that they're in. They're in a shocking position in the league, and they're really good. I think they're going to struggle to stay up now. I think they're 7 points off Newcastle.
2 games in hand.
They've got 15 games in hand, don't they?
They've 2 in hand over Newcastle.
Yeah, I just don't see them winning them, and that's the problem.
You made a good point, but about that defence, Kev. Like, they've only conceded 29 goals in 21 games.
Yeah.
No, that's really, really good for the team.
It is really good, yeah.
League.
But it's just
they've only scored 17.
They're drawing too many games. I think they've lost some 9, haven't they?
Yeah, drawn 11, 1-1.
Drawn 11. That's the thing. That could kill them. Whereas games, you could always depend on Burnley. We'll get to a purple patch in any season and win 2 or 3 games 1-0 on the bounce. Rack up 9 points, and that usually pushes them into relative safety.
But that's usually Chris Wood finds form.
Yeah, or Ashley Barnes hits a purple patch, or Visca? Is another Jay Rodriguez fires a rocket, and they hold out for 3 points. It's just one of those fucking grounds that you don't want to go to and concede. The first half in general, I thought, just as long as we win in 1-0, I was delighted with it, and the way the goal came and how it was scored and everything. Happy to picking shit over that.
Chris, before we get to the goal, Kieran B has asked, I'm sorry, before I do, someone has pointed out that the link wasn't working for Féileacáin in the description. It is now. I copy and pasted it wrong. It's my fault, and I've rectified that. Chris, we've heard Kev and Keith's views. Well, the lads in the chat have earlier about the penalty. By the way, I didn't see the show earlier. Kev, did you think it was a penalty on Salah?
I didn't see it during the day. I had to watch it back, and I can see why it wasn't given. I can't see why VAR didn't overrule it.
Okay. Keith?
I thought it was a pen, yeah. I thought it was a penalty. I think if it's a foul anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul.
Okay.
Penalty.
Chris, penalty for you?
I actually haven't seen it. Okay. In the highlights.
The Arsene Wenger's.
Yeah.
It wasn't shown in the highlight package.
The highlight package I've seen in the UK, they haven't talked about it. I've read one match report just said Salah goes down softly looking for a cheap pen, but I thought I've heard that said about so many things after it's never true. So
that's the key piece. I think the way Salah falls, he falls a little bit delayed, but his foot gets swiped.
Yeah, and you can see his foot. I think it was his left foot was reaching for the ball.
Yeah,
and you can see why he fell the way he fell. Yeah, because of the way he was caught. So I can understand the referee thinking the way he thought that Mo just went down too soft there. I'm not giving that. If I've made a mistake, VAR will pull me up. Do you know what I mean? I can honestly see why it wasn't given. Last season, it would have been a pen. This season, I can see why referees have been told, you don't give those unless you're 100%.
Kev, what happened outside the box is a free kick?
It's a foul all day long.
Okay.
That's why I said I'm surprised. I couldn't understand why VAR didn't overturn it because it was a foul.
Well, this is the...
Darren England was the...
it doesn't matter. They're all fucking specialists. Sam Tandy says, Gav rectified the link quicker than the offside calls were given today. Yeah, I took responsibility and I changed it. Grant. It's a penalty. Simple as that. But what I'm going to say to you is you have to get used to this stuff. We've seen one on Salah during the week, and for the life of me, I can't understand who doesn't get a penalty against Leicester. I was fuming over that one. Right? Now, I've had long-running chats and debates with various people over this saying, well, if it goes in, do you want a penalty? And I'm like, well, that's not the issue. The fact that Salah on Thursday gets a shot away is immaterial. It's irrelevant to what happens between it's Ndidi, isn't it, that hits him. It's actually irrelevant. You have to take that it's on its own merits, and all it is Wilfred Ndidi not going anywhere near the ball and going slide and tackle across into Mo Salah, right?
Yeah.
And impeding him in the box. It doesn't matter what's happened. It doesn't matter what happens. If Salah takes on Thursday night, if Salah, say for argument's sake, Salah overruns that and it's running towards the keeper, and he just comes in and bang does that, it's a penalty kick. It does not matter what's happened with the shot and stuff like that. Today, it's a penalty. Because if it happens outside the box, it's a free kick. And people say, well, it's not the same outside and inside. It is. The consequences are just bigger if you do it inside the box. That's the only difference in football. Yeah. The only difference in football is if you foul a fella on the halfway line, you get a free kick against you. If you foul a fella in the box, you get a free kick against you. But it's a penalty kick. Same thing. It's just the action is the same, the decision is the same, and what happens after that is it's the consequences are just bigger. And I'll never ever get this argument of, you know, and you hear people going, oh, you'll just say if it happened in midfield there would have been a free. That's always the argument, because it's the correct one.
Yeah,
it's the correct argument. You can't differentiate a foul in the box or outside the box. As a matter of fact, you should be looking more to give the penalty than not, right? Than, I'll give the free in the middle of the park, but I won't give it in the box. It should actually be the other way around. Why 100%. Are you dicing with this danger in the box, okay? And, you know, if it happens in the middle of the park, I'm not too sure. In the box it would happen because like he's doing it in front of goal. It actually makes no sense whatsoever. Again, okay? Today, he is taken out today. He exaggerates the fall, but he's stretching. Fine, right? But it doesn't matter if Mo Salah jumps up in the air and fucking does a double pike and falls on the ground. It doesn't matter, right? Exaggerating a fall, okay, is not diving. Diving is when there's no contact and you decide to go over. Yeah. When you're
this way,
you can do whatever you like.
Does he reach the ball if he doesn't get kicked?
Doesn't matter.
Because he's stretching. Because his foot's being taken away. That's why his fall exaggerates.
But it doesn't matter. If a fella is running in the box, say a fella's running into the box and he's looking for a cross, and a defender comes across and just fucking clotheslines him in the middle of the box, right? It doesn't fucking matter where the ball is. It's a penalty kick. It's as simple as that. And I cannot get over when this happens that people go, he exaggerated the fall. It doesn't matter what he done. It doesn't matter what he done. If they should be looking at that and going, listen, it doesn't matter what happened when he got hit. He gets hit, he gets impeded, it's in the box, it's a penalty kick. The same way, he gets hit, he gets impeded, it's outside the box, it's a free kick. It's the same thing. It's just in a different painted area of the pitch, and the consequences are bigger. I can't for the life of me understand how these decisions keep going on and on and on. And again, you know, we're all sitting here and we're going,
they'll justify it.
The VAR look at it. What did the VAR think? What did he think? And again, we're all just sitting here in this big fucking plume of smoke, and no one can see what's going on. And all that's going on, and I'll say it again, and we move on now, is that they are passing responsibility to each other all the fucking time.
But you're right, Gav, they don't deal with it and it's allowed to happen. So players sort of know they have that bit more leniency when it happens in the box. If you look at the Arsenal game during the night when Michael Oliver sent off Martinelli for 2 fouls in the one
he was
sort of movement, he was correct too. And the amount of nonsense that some of the ex-players like Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Savage, Michael Owen were on the panel on BT, and I think Owen was saying red card correct. The other two weren't having a bar of it. But if you do that, it cuts it out.
But Martinelli, he pulls out a fellow while he tries to take a throw. It's a yellow card.
Yeah, tries to push him over.
It's a yellow card, right?
Yellow card.
So they give Wolves the advantage. Now Martinelli knows running down. You see, there's not enough responsibility on the player here. Yeah. Where the player goes, I'm definitely getting booked when this fucking goes there.
Yeah.
You know, 100%. But you know what I'll do? I'll run after this fella now and I'll fucking hang out at him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Martinelli thought it was a free hit.
Exactly. Martinelli thinks. You see, Martinelli's whole MO on that was to stop an attack by Wolves.
Yeah.
He tries it at the thrower, doesn't get away with it. Right, the ball still gets thrown, but he's getting a yellow for trying to do it. Right, and he thinks at all costs I can now actually legitimately stop this attack, and I'm only getting a yellow back there. But he doesn't. He goes bang bang, one there, you're off. Good luck. And you see, the thing is, if he does that and gets booked, and the play stops, and a guy puts the ball down for a free, and he passes it, and Martinelli comes in and bangs a fella again. What's going to happen? He's going to get yellow. It doesn't matter if the ball's not gone dead.
That's to be fair to Owen, that's what he made for once a good point, saying, as an ex-pro, he goes, you think, well, I'm getting booked for that anyway. So he said, you do kind of think in your head, this is a free hit. He said, because no ref will ever have the balls to do me twice.
Yeah.
And you've seen Savage and Real go, that's right. And Owen went, doesn't mean it's not a red. Said, it's just that someone's actually finally done it. He said, now he said, players might start thinking, going, fuck, I'm going to get yellow for that anyway. I can't take him out. Otherwise, I'm going to walk now.
I just...
Michael Oliver is not the worst of them, to be fair. He's a pretty good ref. And he gets a lot more right than he does wrong. And that was a proper decision.
Yeah, he's not like an Atkinson. He's not Panickety, is he?
No, he'll let a game flow when he can.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me on penalties. You know, the way I look at it is, if I misplace a pass in the middle of the park, right, the chance of me being punished are minimal. Okay, if I do the exact same thing in my box, the chances of me being punished are greatly exaggerated, a lot higher. Right?
Yeah.
It should be the exact same for the same tackles on midfield and in the box. You do that tackle in the box, the chance of you being hurt for it are bigger. I mean, it's just, look, I just can't get over it. I really can't.
You think this is bad? You come watch the women's games with me. Honest God, you have to literally kung fu kick someone in the head to get a booking.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
The wildness against that, like, let's go by.
Well, you watch any of the lower league football. You watch football in the Championship, League 1 and League 2. Some of the standards of refereeing in England is atrocious. It's no different in the League of Ireland. It's no different across the continent. The lower down you go, the standard of refereeing is really poor.
Yeah.
And the problem for the referees are, where a decade ago you might have had 10 games on a weekend, you'd have had 4 cameras at each game, except the TV game, which would have had maybe 8. Now you've got maybe 16 to 20 cameras at every game. Every angle is pawed over within an inch of his life by 24-hour sports media, by podcasts, by social media. They're on a hiding to nothing with a lot of decisions because they'll never get everything right. But at the same time, they don't go out of their way to make huge mistakes. That was the whole principle of that VAR was brought in for, that it's there to catch the glaringly fucking big ones. Last season, they used VAR for the minute detail. Then people complained and said they didn't like that. They wanted the game to flow. Now the games are flowing. They don't want, this is what people supposedly wanted. They don't want VAR involved as much. Now it's not involved as much. You're getting people complaining that, you're missing X, Y, and Z decision. They're never going to get everything right. No one is ever going to be pleased all of the time.
They're definitely not, Kev. But you see, it goes back to process. And if the same process is followed for every decision, people would start to understand it. It's a bit like when you bring in a smoking ban, people go, what? I was smoking on a plane last week. Why can't I smoke today? But if you bring it in, you make the rules very simple, very straightforward, and you follow that process. People eventually, they mightn't like it, but they become used to it, and they actually start to understand it. And they don't need screens, and they don't need fucking some
we need to hear
dope of a referee coming on and going, I think that might be a foul. Well, it either is or it fucking isn't. Well, and
the commentators
are
hearing that conversation. The commentators and the co-commentator,
they have access to this. Yeah,
they all have access to the same pictures as what the VAR is seeing. It's just a case of what they choose to broadcast or not. But they have access to the audio. That audio is vital for every fan to be able to understand the decision-making process. You play that audio for a season, every fan, by the end of the season, is more educated and knows exactly why decisions are made and what happens and why it happens.
Will never happen.
It's the same with rugby union. I watched Six Nations at the weekend, watched Ireland, France, and when the TMO was making decisions, you hear the conversation, and they talk you through the process of why a decision was made. You go away at the end of the game and you don't talk about refereeing decisions.
Well,
Decent
Sam,
in cricket.
Sam
Cricket is the
Tandy, I'm on this bus with Sam Tandy if he has any spaces left in it. He says, if we beat Norwich, Spurs somehow beat City, and we beat Leeds, we be 3 points behind City. That's how quick things could change. I'm all over that.
all
Let's
on
move
the
on.
Tandy train.
Chris, Fabinho has more goals in 2022 than Erling Haaland.
5 and 7. Can't complain, can you?
And I loved the way the goal came, because a flick out of Mane, Burnley just decided not to mark him. Fabinho bundles one like what's that forward's name that come on for them earlier? I can't fucking stand him. He gets the pen. No, he gets the pen.
Ashley Barnes.
He bundles it at the goal like Ashley Barnes, then he kicks in the rebound. And
it was the most Burnley goal to score.
It was incredible. But I'm loving how he's getting in these positions. I'm loving how he's just taking up positions in the box and making himself known, because he's not a small guy. He's making himself known in there.
I did
great
like
time to
Klopp's
score too.
reactions. I did like Klopp's reaction. He goes, he probably would score more if I've actually sent him up a bit more than I used to. He said that's probably on me, because actually, for corners, he used to be the sweeper.
That's right. Yeah.
He used to sit in the halfway line, and
I think Trent does it now, doesn't he?
Yeah. When you think now, you're going like, he's fucking huge. He should. He's just a menace, and he knows how to finish. So, and did you see his post match?
Yeah, his post match is great, because he
It's
just
the most
decides that.
It's the most Scouse reaction I've ever seen in my life, and he's got an accent now like Jan Mulby.
Yeah,
it's just a warm
and he's just
Scouse.
deciding that if the people asking the questions are talking shit, he's going to tell them. I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely. He just keeps pulling people up and stuff. It's brilliant. Just says Fabinho has more goals than Haaland, Ronaldo, and Messi in 2022. But it's definitely something, because you're right in what you say. He used to be the man at the back, and now I think Trent does it a lot of the time. Robbo kind of fills in.
I think whoever takes the corner, the other one.
Yeah, the other one says that.
Yeah. I'd probably change that, though. I'd love Trent hovering around the edge of the box when Robertson's taking frees and corners and stuff like that.
Wouldn't mind seeing Harvey in that role. It's usually the shortest fella.
Just goes
the shortest fella.
Someone that's quick as well.
Yeah, you got to be nippy.
Martin says, isn't Haaland injured? I don't know, but he hasn't scored as many goals as Fabinho in 2022, so it doesn't bother us.
The fact still stands.
Listen, it's 1-0 up. Keith, it's a brilliant time to get a goal. 40 minutes in. Weathering a storm is probably the wrong way to put it, but after giving Burnley a little bit of a look here and there, to score that would have hurt Burnley in a big way, I think.
Yeah, weathering a storm, it's not that bad of an analogy, but more so from a weather point of view. I always like scoring just on half-time, or close enough to half-time, or else just when you come out in the second half, because game plans go out the window or get changed, and it's a killer blow. It's all about the psychology, isn't it, of when you can score. And as you said, Burnley would have felt, rightly or wrongly, as Fabinho says in his interview, they were getting chances, they were making chances. They weren't really, but they would have felt that there's an opportunity here. We're getting in behind these, and all it'll take is one Liverpool defender to lapse and just keep us on, and we're in. And to do that at that time was a great time to go in. So, Fabinho, I was at the Brentford game, and he pops up just on half time as well and scores from a corner. I think it's on 45 or 43 in that game, so it's vital times to score, and it just sucks the life. It takes the wind out of the opposition, and it's something that I hope we do every game. There's never a bad time to score a goal, but I particularly like them just on half time.
When I was looking at it, I was thinking to myself, I'm probably a minute or two before we score, so it sort of shows how much I know, because I was sitting there saying to myself, right, really strong 11. Burnley have done quite well. We've given them a couple of sniffs, but we've had the majority of it. We've had a couple of shots and stuff like that. But all I'm thinking is, if we just get into half-time and 0-0 here, I'm happy enough, because of what we have to come off the bench, and the fact that Klopp's going to get a hold of them for 15 minutes, because I don't know if there's many better out there than Klopp. They always seem to come out second half and absolutely go for teams. And I think they probably would have done more so if it was 0-0, but to get the goal was a big bonus. Sorry, Chris, we're going to jump in there.
I just said it was 0-0.
What do you mean?
You said 0-0.
No, 0-0.
It's not that debate again.
No, we're not doing this again. I can. Sorry, Scouse P. 0-0. If it was 0-0. Or 0-0. Are we all right with both of them? We're okay with both of them.
Let's bring 0-0 to the masses. This
0-0 to the
be
masses.
A Dublin thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's put my wooden spoon away.
Was Keith at the Brentford game? He's only mentioned it a dozen times, says Sean
I
Swain.
was at the Brentford game, Sean. Yeah, let
How
me
did you
tell
get
you
on?
about it. It was great. Yeah, it was great. Fabinho scored a header from a corner just on half time. I might have mentioned that before.
Oh, they're
But
all
no,
off
like
now. They're all off. Declan MC 0-0. Gav Scouser Pete 0-0. Fuck's sake. 0-0. It would have been 0-0 at half time if Fabinho didn't score, and he made it 1-0.
It was 1-0 all instead.
1-0 all instead. The reclaimer is not having. He's not fucking happy. He says 370 viewers now, 160 likes. What the fuck? Smash the like. It's free. Yeah, hit it. There's 2 people don't like us. 163 do. As I said, the 2 people that don't, leave your comments in afterwards, and we will.
That Sean is one of them. Sean is after hitting that unlike with my constant ramblings about Brentford.
Yeah, I'll say it was
Sean. Take the dislike away, Sean. You know, just leave me. Let me have me little moment in the sun.
Yeah. Anyway, 0-0. 0-all, says Emma Kavanagh, because he's correct.
Of course.
But anyway, 3 unlike us now. So this is where they start winding us up and hitting the unlike, which is the crack, isn't it? But there's nothing we can do about it. So it's 1-0, not 0-0 at half time. And Kev, I thought we were really good second half. I thought we came out in the second half and without putting them to bed, I thought we really played a controlled second half. I really liked it. Bar, I think there might be a header from Ben Mee. But other than that, I can't think of an
Even that went well wide.
Yeah, and I think Alisson might have one that's dipping that he does well to hold on to.
Yeah, there was that header that he or that half volley or something that he held on to. But yeah, look, the changes that they had to make and the changes that we made changed the game. Yeah. Thiago coming on gives you a level of control. He's just different. You know, I mean, the first thing he did, Nick Pope kicked the ball long and he took the ball in his chest out of the sky and half volleyed it into Mo Salah's path to create a chance. You know, that was his first involvement in the game. And then about 7 or 8 minutes later, Weghorst went off and they brought on Ashley Barnes. They put the changes they made, they had to change the way they played because they put Cornet up front for pace instead of Jay Rodriguez when they took him off around the same time as Thiago came on. So it meant they had to try to play through the lines a bit more. And that in itself gave us the ability to snap up balls in midfield and just maintain control. And we did. We just managed the game, managed the second half without having to put the foot down. And we should have scored at least 1 or 2 more in the second half. There was some really bad forward play. One desperately bad bit by Mo. The terrible pass when Mo and Jota were 2v1. And he underhit a pass that allowed Tarkowski to get in a challenge on Jota.
Would that be ruled out? Because I thought even on second.
No, Jota was well onside.
Did you think so?
He was well onside.
Maybe it's just my eyes. I thought maybe he might have just strayed a little bit.
No, he was well onside.
That one for Salah, he takes too long.
Yeah,
he should be hitting him a lot earlier with it.
Yeah, and the ball should have been put in with a bit more pace.
Yeah,
you know, Jota was well able to control that or time his run right. But other than that, you're nitpicking really. It was a proper professional performance away from home, and you take the 3 points and on you go. You know, there's no complaints about that second half performance whatsoever.
No, I genuinely thought the second half for, you know, Burnley would have liked to keep it as is for as long as they can. That's what most teams like to do and look for a big last 10. But I thought the way we controlled it, we didn't overcommit, but we were a lot safer with the ball. We were more, I think we are quicker in the decisions, both defensively and offensively. You know, when we had the ball, we made decisions quicker. That didn't give Burnley a sniff. And defensively, we were a lot more like, there was one touch by Virgil where your man Cornet chased them down and he just casually just throws his left foot out and just lobs it to Robertson at left back, and you're like, this is fucking stupid what he's doing. Yeah. But I thought, like, Keith, did you think the same, or were you nervous? Because I genuinely seen that second half, and I actually seen the second half and thought to myself, that's how we should have done it in the first half, but we obviously didn't.
Yeah, no, I wasn't nervous at all, Gav, to be honest. I think the only time I felt a bit frustrated in the game was the first maybe 10 or 15, when I felt, I said this earlier on, that Matip and Trent's passing was a bit all over the place. And we can put that down to the weather, because especially from that end, it seemed in the second half, Burnley's defenders, Tarkowski in particular, was whacking them out a touch as well. That looked seemingly easy passes, and they were going well out of play, even though they were going low. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the lads. They adapted and they sort of got on top of it then. But look, it's no coincidence that we got better when Henderson went off and Thiago came on. Thiago, we all know what Thiago is. Thiago can control the game.
Does it change them? Does it change because Burnley look to press at times, and when Thiago comes on, I think the look of Burnley is if we overextend ourselves slightly in trying to push on to Liverpool here, he'll just find the pass somewhere and he'll just put someone in. And I don't mean in on goal, I mean he'll just find a gap where he'll just put someone into a load of space and Liverpool will be sprawling all over you. Because that's what I felt from Burnley. As soon as they see him come on, they're like, no, fuck this.
But he's hard to press as well, isn't he? Because he does the little body swerve, and he done it today when he was only on. I don't know how midfielders keep falling for it. He just drops the shoulder and he's gone. But you're right, Gav, it's never a true ball defence splitting. It's always, a ball out wide where they're in 100, acres and acres of space out, whether it be Trent or whatever, or Robbo on the other side. He always manages to get the right ball at the right time into space to them. And it's just, look, it's not to dig out Hendo, but he wasn't. I'm a big Henderson fan. He was well off it today, and he gets an injury as well. But that's not to, he's been poor recently. Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest. I'm a Henderson fan. He's been poor recently.
Well, the thing is, go on, Chris.
The frustration with Henderson at the moment is he's just off form, and I think partly that is I think he's been overplayed because of the likes of Thiago, the likes of Elliott haven't been around because they've been injured. They are.
Kate is off at AFCON.
Yeah. The thing that is pissing me off with sections of our fan base at the moment is there always has to be a scapegoat, or there always has to be someone that's written off. So now Henderson's legs are gone now. Where last week it was, Manny's fucked now because Diaz is in.
Well, Owen Conway says, discuss Henderson. He always defended him, but it's time to accept he's absolutely finished. Hope I'm proved wrong.
Just fuck off with shit like that. Fuck off. He's not. He's going through bad form. Guess what? They all go through bad form. Fabinho was shite early in the season. Look, watch the Brentford game back. Watch the Brighton game back. When he couldn't fucking pass a ball to yards. Van Dijk couldn't head a ball against Brentford. But you don't see the finish. We've had Van Dijk apparently is. Well, is he ever going to be the same player again? He's fucking back. He's almost back to his best. Henderson's going through a bad spell. The best thing Henderson could do is actually be kept outside for 3 or 4 weeks, recharge, and come back.
I agree with you because I don't think it's a form thing. I think his legs do look like they're going on him, and I'm not saying they're going on him to the fact where they're completely gone, but I do look at him and go, this game is too quick for you. And the only solution, the hopeful solution for a guy when a game is too quick for him, is that he's a little bit lethargic. Or he's a little bit tired. I don't really get the tired thing though, because we've had breaks, so I don't really get that.
Well, he's played the most minutes in the midfielders.
Yeah,
I think when I looked at LFC history,
but he's had 2.5 weeks off.
Yeah, but you don't know how long when he picked that back injury. They said it was recent, but I think he's been playing with stuff. I personally think he shouldn't have played the last 2 games. I would have kept him out the last 2 games when we had such a full squad. Give him a month off. Give him a month to actually, properly recharge. He's done enough heavy lifting for the rest of the squad. Let somebody else do it. But we all know what happened. Henderson goes out for 6 weeks. It'll be Curtis Jones. He's shite. He needs to go. If Curtis Jones is playing, they'll find somebody else.
I still think there's a genuine reason to have a chat around Jordan Henderson. I think he's been poor for the majority of the season.
Yeah. Do you know when he was great? I went to see Liverpool against Brentford, and I don't know if I've mentioned it. I think he was amazing that day.
No, I think when you look at players that have played an awful lot of football, Firmino's probably one of those as well because he just hasn't stopped playing football. Where you go, you know what, he could do with a rest, and sometimes you don't get that because of the situation in the squad where we want to give Jordan Henderson a rest, but A, B, and C are out, so we can't get a rest. The sort of way, but. I agree with you. I think the only way for us to probably see what's going on here with Henderson, which I think there is, and I'm not one to go, he's absolutely finished, and we should be fucked out the door. I never kind of go down that route. But I think looking at him over the last while, I just feel like the intensity isn't in there in him. And it's a big part of his game. He's a really good footballer. Like, listen, you don't play for Liverpool in midfield for 10, 11 years, right? And you don't captain them for, it's 6, 7 years now, I think. You don't do that if you're not a fantastic footballer. Jordan Henderson is, regardless of what anyone fucking tells you. But
especially on that club.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, when I look at Henderson at the moment, and this isn't me telling you that Henderson should never play with Liverpool again, but when I look at it, I kind of think to myself, looks a bit tired, looks a bit jaded, a bit like Robertson did at the start of the season. You remember Robertson looked that big way at the start of the season? And you go, and we all had this thing where we went, could Simicast come in for a couple of games, and it just gives you that fight back. And I'm not saying Henderson is too comfortable in what he is, not for a second. I don't think he comes across that sort of person. But what I'm saying is, if Klopp was to turn to him and go, now, I'm going to say this, but most players will just tell the Klopp, listen, I want to fucking play. You've seen Salah this week and Mane both turn up and want to play straight after the AFCON. But I think if you were to turn to Henderson and go, listen, Jordan, you're not playing in Italy and you're not playing against Norwich at the weekend, and you'll be back for the next midweek game, which is Arsenal. No, Leeds on the 23rd. We're giving you that bit of time off, and we're going to look after you over that time, and you'll be ready to go. And if he comes in and he's flying, you go, yeah, it worked. And if he comes in and it's the exact same, you go, no, there's actually something different going on here. There actually is a deeper conversation to have about him. But we'll have to wait and see. Who wants first shout on Alisson Becker? Because I think he's the best goalkeeper we've ever seen.
Just address one thing. Sorry, because I think I've offended someone in the chat. Owen's got quite upset with me. When I said fuck off, it was fuck off at the point of his legs have gone. That's what it wasn't aimed at you in particular. So, please don't get precious. It's my opinion. I get very wound up when Liverpool fans' reactions, not Owen, but in general, is we need to write someone off. And Henderson's the easy one to write off, and I don't get it. And for somebody else who said to me, Kate has played similar against Henderson. Henderson's played 31 games. Kate is nowhere near that this season. So that was my point. If you don't like it, so be it. That's my point.
Okay. Kev, Alisson Becker, best goalkeeper you've ever seen in the world ever.
Not quite, but he's in the conversation of the best keeper in the last 10 years. He's definitely in that conversation of the best Liverpool keeper I've seen since Ray Clements. And you go and find me another one, because I guarantee you won't get one cheaper than 80, 85 million. I don't think there is one at the minute. I think he's arguably the best keeper in the world.
I'd swap him for nobody.
No, I wouldn't either.
And I don't care if Manuel Neuer comes out and does Rabonas from the edge of his box. I'm not changing him for nobody.
Manuel Neuer, Oblak, Ter Stegen, Donnarumma, Keylor Navas are all excellent keepers. Alisson can do everything that they can do, and he holds the ball. He doesn't palm it or punch it for no reason. He's brilliant at holding the ball and managing the box and patrolling the area and coming out. And when I say he's the best keeper I've seen at Liverpool since Ray Clements, that's a long time. I'm nearly 50.
Clements leaves Liverpool in 81. 81, yeah.
81. I was born in 72, so I just caught when I started watching football, started watching a big match, a match of the day when it was on. Ray Clements had still at Liverpool and just about to go to Tottenham. And if it wasn't for Peter Shelton, would have played 100 plus games for England back in the days when international groups for tournaments were 5 countries. Not like today when 100 players get 100 caps in the space of 7 or 8 years. Alisson Becker for me, and Brazil have produced some really good keepers in the last, between him and Ederson. Taffarel before was all right, but
Dida was okay.
Dida was decent. I'm struggling to think of better goalkeepers in the Premier League era. Schmeichel, I think, is probably better than him. Seaman was very good.
Seaman's
But-
better than Alisson Becker.
No, I think no. But David Seaman was a very good goalkeeper, but Becker is just different. When he makes a mistake, it's like we're all standing there. What the fuck did he just do? It's weird.
Yeah.
Whereas I think we were almost conditioned for a long time under the Brendan Rodgers era and the start of Klopp era with Mignolet and Enquiries that this is what's acceptable for a Liverpool goalkeeper. And then we saw Becker come in. And I don't get lost for words that often, but he's just different, man. He is just seriously good. I mean, when you look, I'm thinking of elite keepers, likes of Buffon, Casillas. You'd have a conversation with those keepers in there, and you wouldn't feel out of place saying, "Yeah, well, Alisson can do what they can do as well."
Sleeping
and
Dragon says best Liverpool keeper, full stop. I reckon better all round than Ray Clements.
It's hard to compare ears.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it? It's hard to
because
compare
Avo
ears.
says Clem was a fantastic keeper. I watched him for 5 years, and I think Alisson Becker is nearly as good. He thinks he's unbelievable in one-on-ones. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
like he just. When he comes
there was
out,
the one today with
especially when
Cornet.
he comes out all in black and he's like,
Yeah.
like the Grim Reaper coming out of the goal. He just makes it look so small, and he does not.
There was that one today with Max Cornet where Cornet was offside.
Yeah.
But he forced him wide, and he stayed up as long
He's
as
on
he
the
could.
ground, and then he
But
gets
even
up
when
again.
he was on, and even when he was on the ground, he was still coming back up to force him wider again. That's what forwards look at when it's Alisson. I've got to do something different.
Yeah.
Or I've got to do something special to beat this guy. Whereas most of the time they'd shift it out of their feet and take the shot in the corner, no bother. But they see it's Alisson, so they think different. And only the best keepers can do that.
I just think he's phenomenal. And like when you look, we're all talking about weather and wind, rain, fucking swearing around. I've seen people at the ground after the game doing reports for their own podcasts and channels. I seen one from the Anfield Rap, Neil Atkinson and Rob Gutman, I want to say, and the two of them are in the stand and they're nearly being blown away, so you can see how bad it is. But this is the guy having to handle the ball when it's being fizzed at him. This is the guy, that's taking back passes, he's taking shots at him, everything, and he just doesn't bother him, and he, even in that sort of weather, his handling is so assured. There's half volleys dipping in front of him, taking a bounces in front of him, it just sticks. He's cool on the ball. I just think he's absolutely. There's no.
Emma hits the nail on the head there. His starting position is always unreal. Positional sense is unrivaled. He's out on top of you in a flash, and that's what his
distribution
strength
today
is.
was excellent as well.
Yeah.
The thing with this one, Phil has often said this to me about Alisson. He said the thing about him is, he said, he's big, he's imposing, he comes out, he does all that. But he said what it is about his shot stopping is his footwork is exceptional. And what happens is, instead of him taking one step to set, one step to push, one step to do something else, he's making the really good or the really hard look easy because of his movement of his body before he goes to perform a save. He said you'll see one keeper's taking one step and pushing, he'll take 2 or 3 small ones, boom, 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 and he's across. And he's much more on his toes, and because his legs are closer together as he's doing them little steps, it actually gives you more of a push. So when things are right in the corner, you're thinking, how the fuck has he got to that? He's actually all over it because of the movement, his own movement in his feet. And that's what Phil is all, because I'm no goalkeeping expert. I just go, that's a good save, he's kept it out. That's as far as I go with goalkeeping. But when I look at him, I just think it actually does take something special to get past him. Or you have to.
You rarely see him making it.
Yeah, the one against Palace, the backfield one against
save.
Palace is ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's so simple.
And he holds on.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, it's absolutely mad.
You look at the fella at Arsenal, Harry Ramsden, and every game he's diving and he's stuffing them. I forget his name.
Yeah,
Aaron Lonsdale.
Yeah,
he's pulling, camera saves. Do you know what I mean? And Pickford is actually like that as well. But that's because his footwork is absolutely terrible, and he's having to sort of get and stretch and try and, like, you know, shots going straight down the middle and he's getting and tipping them over. Alisson, you rarely see him having to pull one out of the top corner because he's always positioned in a sense that he just goes over and takes them straight on. Do you know what I mean? Like, shots come at him and he just catches them.
He's the goalkeeping version of Van Dijk, isn't he? Because you don't see Van Dijk on his arse slide tackling because he's always in the right position for a simple interception. It's a similar thing. It's just very good play, very well coached. He just makes everything look really simple, and he's very calming.
When it's not simple, and that's the thing.
But it's a big thing when you go to away games, to have your keeper as solid as that is big. But when you have a team looking to play in a certain way, like Burnley wanted to, when you have that howling wind and rain and stuff like that, where other keepers can be, you know, crowd can get on top of them or whatever it might be. But Alisson's walking in going, I don't really give a fuck what's going on here today. I'll just do what I do, and then I'm out of here. And I love to see him get annoyed, by the way, because some keepers make those saves. Like De Gea makes brilliant saves and just gets up and says nothing. Yeah. Alisson has to make a save, and he tells you why. Here's why I had to make the save, and it's not down to the fella that shot. It's down to the fact that you fucking let him, or you gave him the ball, or you done something wrong. And he's getting more and more vocal. I've noticed that over the last couple of months in particular. He's getting more and more vocal, and he's nearly. Like, he's a beautiful man, but I wouldn't like him fucking shouting at me because I'd be like, relax, will you? Yeah. You know, but absolutely brilliant. And I just wanted to give him a mention.
Yeah, that's great keeper.
Tony Bellew reckons that Pickford is better than Ali. Says, so there you go, says Olivier.
Of course he does.
He also reckons Alan's better than Fabinho, so
yeah.
Says it all really, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
I seen a great one the other day, just give Everton a mention. There was a guy on Twitter the other day and said, Anthony Gordon that plays for Everton?
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon will become the best winger in the Premier League under Frank Lampard.
Yeah. It's good.
They just never learn. They really fucking
Everton Twitter is good today, I have to say.
It's unbelievable.
It's
and then it'll be on its ear again in a couple of days, so it's one of those.
I saw the other one was that after our win now, how many would now get in the Liverpool side? I reckon it's quite a few. Oh, come on. Okay. You start going, oh come on lads, it's one win. Just enjoy your win. You don't need to jump to 3 stages ahead. Just do it gradual.
Let me see. Tony Bellew's been taking pelters to his head all his life, and it's shown since 1891. It's a mad show. It's a mad show. But they're known for it. Like
they don't do their players any favors. Gordon is a decent young
talent. They get beaten. They get beaten in Newcastle during the week, and they're absolutely slaughtering them. They beat Leeds, and I actually fancied them to beat Leeds. I thought Everton were in trouble. They could still be, but
Leeds were atrocious.
I couldn't believe how bad Leeds were.
I could, because Leeds, if you'd have said to me Burnley were going there yesterday, I would have went, oh. But Leeds, 100% of the sort of team, when you need something, they will come out and play right into your hands and give you every opportunity to get what you need. And that's exactly what they done with Everton yesterday. Man of the match before we go, lads. Chris?
Van Dijk.
Perfect. Kev?
Robbo.
Nice. Keith?
Alisson.
Jesus, 3 different ones. Okay.
There you go.
Van Dijk, Robbo, Alisson. I have to go. I think I have to go with Alisson. No, do you know what? Fabinho gets the only goal of the game. So 4 different man of the matches there.
It's one of them games, isn't it? Like, and we can all back up. You know, I don't think people will really disagree. Well, I don't think Alisson was tested too much. If the flag had been going up on chances, he's still reacting to all these chances the way he wants, and he's putting the fear of the bleeding God into the Burnley attacker. So yeah, same with Van Dijk. He's a Rolls Royce. He doesn't get tested, but that's because he's so good. You know, it's just a great time to be a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah,
it is, and that's 4 different ones there. Fabinho 2 votes there. Van Dijk comes in. Alisson comes in. Fabinho again. Fabinho. So there's loads there. Would anyone have Rafinha at Anfield this summer?
Nope. No.
Only if we sell one. And to be honest,
not for the price Leeds a quote. No chance.
Yeah, 60 million you get him for, I'd say. But you're talking if Mo leaves, he's very much.
He's not worth 30, Keith. He's just not.
He is. He's a great player, Rafinha. He's a great player. He is you put him in our squad, in our team, Kev.
He's not a great player. He's not. Yeah, but
for 60 million, I think you're taking a bit of a risk.
For 60 million, you want the end product done deal. You're talking.
I think he's as close to that.
He's not.
I'm telling you, you put him into the Jurgen Klopp team. He's doing good numbers in Bielsa's team now when they're going to shy. and he's.
When you need him, he vanishes.
But
He's a
that's
show.
not just him.
That's
You know,
what
he
that's
is.
Leeds are struggling.
show.
You know.
I think he leaves Leeds in the summer.
Yeah, so do
I
I.
think he will.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, enough of Rafinha.
I don't think he comes to us, and anyway, I think he goes to Bayern.
Gav, a bit of Spurs bashing at the end for a laugh. No, not tonight. But
They're not relevant.
don't tell anybody. But I think I have a new show for us. I think I have a new
another
show
one
for us. And bashing will be part of it. So that's 4 different man of the matches. Fair enough. Rest of the week, tomorrow's Monday. We have cop update Monday to Friday 2 p.m. I was off a couple of days last week, but genuinely I had so much on I just couldn't get to it. So I'll do my absolute best with that. The forum should be back tomorrow night. If not, I'm sure we'll find something else. Tuesday will be a midweek fix where we will preview the Inter Milan game. Wednesday will be full-time Reds after the Inter Milan game. Thursday will be a quiz that Davo and Shawnee have tried, and Chris and Kev have tried, and now me and Dylan O'Rourke are going to have a go of it on Thursday.
Ooh.
And on Friday, there will be Sports Unplugged. And on Saturday, we play Norwich, don't we? So we will have a full-time Reds at about 5 p.m. that day. And Sunday, we will have the Fatback 4. Okay?
Loads of shows next week.
Loads and loads of stuff. But, yeah, that's about it. What else? Féileacáin, the link is working. Please go in there and donate. We've gone past the €2,000 now. We're nearly a quarter of the way there. Nearly, but we need your help. We genuinely need your help because, you know, the sponsorship for the golf day is only going to get us so far. But we genuinely need people sharing their website, sharing the donation link, and getting every fiver will count. If we keep lashing fivers in there, we'll absolutely do the business. So make sure you check that out. BetMate during the week. I know they have a Champions League one for Liverpool during the week that we will participate in and talk about on Tuesday night. So check them out. The link is in the description for them, so you can sign up. Our new Messenger app.
That's a great laugh. That's a great laugh.
That has launched. Anyone that's signed up, the link is in our community tab on our YouTube page for subscribers. You go in there, you will see the link. You link up. You give your email, they send you the details, you get into the group. There's a good few people in there now. I'm just chatting all Liverpool all day, every day. It's very new. It only launched yesterday, but it's a good bit of crack, and there was loads happening during the game there today. So we will build that as we go along. You can sign up for free, or you can sign up for the exact same content for and the exact same messenger stuff for $2.99 a month. And that $2.99 a month will A, go towards running that app, and B, whatever's left will go to charity. I think that's it. I think I've covered everything.
I've got what? The women one as well.
The women one as well, 10 points clear. And if they don't go up now, it'll be the biggest collapse since Brendan Rodgers in 2008, 1920.
1920,
Chris,
2021.
anything before we go?
No, just to say, you think Alisson Becker's good? Go see Rachel Laws of the women's team. She's just as good.
She's not conceding goals at all. Who'll win the Super Bowl, Chris?
Rams.
Okay. Keith, anything else before we go?
No, all good. I could talk about Brentford again, but for some reason I'm getting too much abuse over that one.
Yeah.
And who wins the Super Bowl? The Rams. As much as Dicko was cheering on the Bengals, I think the Bengals have scuttered their way there. And I think the defence of the Rams will be too much for them, and I think they will win it tonight.
Okay, the Rams. Second vote for Rams. Jay Whelan says, when it's the night out, Gav, me and the bro want tickets. There is no tickets. Don't make me text you again. Don't fucking threaten me, Jay. But you will be sorted out. Don't worry about it. Kev, anything else before we go?
Nope, all good. Big week coming up now. Back in Europe.
Yeah, big week coming up. Loads of shows. Who wins the Super Bowl, Kev?
I think Bengals win. I think the Rams bottle it at home. I think they bottle under the pressure at the home stadium.
All right. Possibly. I hope the Bengals win. I couldn't tell you who's going to win. I'm going to get on now into my WhatsApp groups, stick on the superb L, as Kev calls it, via text.
Yeah, the superb owl.
And we'll have a go. It kicks off in 15 minutes, so go and get yourself sorted. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. We will be back to you with multiple shows tomorrow. As I said, have a look at Féileacáin. Have a look in our community tab for subscribers only, where you can link into our messenger group, which is very easy. It's on an app on your phone. which is great. Check out BetMe. And I think that's about it. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but what can you do?
Our BetMate thing. We finished 8th on Friday night.
Yeah, it's going in the right direction.
It's going in the right direction. We're going to have to do another one maybe for on Tuesday night. We'll have a look at another one for the Champions League game if there's one.
I reckon it's when the chat dropped McTominay. Kev, that's what I reckon. We'd have won otherwise.
No, we wouldn't.
No, we definitely
were 3 points off the money. We were 3 points off the money.
Daryl Hudson says, how many wins left, Gav? 14 is the answer, Daryl. 14 more wins. Liverpool will be champions of England yet again. Over and out.